Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Mr. Mind Average.
The question seems to be simple, but the answer is very complex. And the complexity becomes multidimensional because the answer can come only from your own experience, not from outside. Just as the question is arising in you, the answer has to also be part of your interiority. But I will go into a little detail to explain what I mean when I say that the moment is rare when eternity penetrates time. Time is in which we live. It is horizontal. It is from A to B to C to D. It is in a line. Eternity is vertical. It is not from A to B and from B to C. It is from A to more A to still more A it goes on upwards. The moment is rare because it happens only when meditation has reached ripening maturity. When you have touched your innermost core, then suddenly you become aware that you are a crossroads. A line goes horizontal. In other words, mediocre, ordinary, meaningless, and finally to death. The horizontal line is continuously moving towards the graveyard. I have told you this story significant in many ways to be reminded. A great king in his dreams saw a shadow and became afraid even in the dream and asked What do you want? The shadow said, I have not come to ask for anything. I have come just to inform you. This evening, at the right place, when the sun will be setting, you will breathe your last breath. Ordinarily, I don't come to inform people, but you are a great emperor. It is just to pay respect to you. The emperor became so afraid that he woke up, perspiring, could not think what to do. The only thing he could think of was to call all the wise men, astrologers, prophets, and to find out the meaning of the dream. The dream analysis is thought to be originated with Sigmund Freud. That's not true. It originated with this emperor 1000 years before. In the middle of the night, all the prophets of his capital, all the wise men, all those who are concerned in some way with the future, dream readers, they were told the story. The story was simple. They had brought their scriptures and they started arguing with each other that this cannot be the meaning or this is bound to be the meaning. They wasted time. The sun started rising. The king has an old servant whom he treated just as a father, because his father died very early. He was too young, and he has given the guardianship to this servant and told him, take care that he becomes my successor and does not lose the kingdom. And the servant managed. Now he was very old, but he was not treated as a servant. He was almost as respected as a father. He came close to the emperor and said, I want to say two things to you. You have always listened to me. I am not a prophet and I am not an astrologer, and I don't know what all nonsense is going on. The scriptures are being consulted. One thing is that once the sun has risen, the sunset is not very far. And these people, the so-called knowledgeable people, have never come to any conclusion in centuries. Just in one day, they will quarrel, argue, destroy each other's argument, but you cannot hope that they will come to a consensus, a conclusion. Let them do their discussions. My suggestion is you have the best horse in the world. Those were the days of the horses. You take the horse and escape from this palace as fast as possible. This much is certain, that you should not be here and you should be far away. It was logical, rational, although very simple. The king left the great, intelligent, and the wise arguing. They did not even notice that the emperor has left. And he certainly had a horse worth an empire. He was very proud of the horse. There was no other horse known of that strength and there was such a love between the horse and the emperor, such deep affinity, a kind of synchronicity, that the king said to the horse that it seems my death is coming. That shadow was nothing but death. And you have to take me as far away from this palace as you can manage. The horse nodded his head. And he fulfilled his promise. By the evening, as the sun was setting, they were hundreds of miles away from their kingdom. They have reached into another kingdom in disguise. The emperor was very happy. He got down the horse. He was tying the horse with the tree because neither he has eaten anything nor the horse. So he said to the horse, "Thank you, my friend. Now I will make arrangements for your food, for my food. We are so far away. There is no fear, but you proved the stories that were told about you. You became almost like a cloud with such speed and as he was tying the horse with the tree, the dark shadow appeared and said to the emperor that I was afraid that you may not be able to make it, but your horse is great. I also thank him. This is the place and this is the time, and I was worried you were so far away, how I can manage to take you. The horse served destiny
है या आगे, वह कभी रुकना नहीं जानता, और जो रुकता नहीं उसे शांति कैसे मिलेगी। तनाव उसी दौड़ का परिणाम है जो कभी खत्म नहीं होती। हर सुबह नई शुरुआत होती है, पर तुम बीते कल को अपने कंधों पर लाद कर चलते हो और फिर पूछते हो क्यों इतना भारीपन है। क्योंकि तुमने अपने भीतर कचरे का अंबार जमा कर लिया है। जो बीत गया वह अब नहीं है, जो आने वाला है वह अभी नहीं आया। फिर तनाव किसे लेकर? क्यों तुम उस चीज के लिए जलते हो जो है ही नहीं। जो कल्पना है वह तुम्हारा यथार्थ बन गया है, और यही कल्पना दुख की जड़ है। कभी बैठो चुपचाप, कुछ मत करो, बस देखो तुम्हारे भीतर कितनी हलचल है। हर विचार किसी न किसी डर से जुड़ा है, हर उम्मीद किसी अधूरेपन से। तुम सोचते हो जब सब ठीक होगा तब शांति मिलेगी, पर शांति कोई परिणाम नहीं, वह एक प्रारंभ है। जिस दिन तुम कुछ ठीक करने की कोशिश छोड़ दोगे उस दिन सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा। तनाव इसलिए नहीं है कि हालात कठिन है, तनाव इसलिए है कि तुम हालात को अपने मुताबिक बनाना चाहते हो। तुम सोचते हो दुनिया तुम्हारी इच्छा से चले, पर दुनिया अपने नियमों से चलती है। जब तुम उसका विरोध करते हो तो तुम्हारा संघर्ष शुरू हो जाता है, और संघर्ष से ही तनाव जन्म लेता है। एक बात समझो, जीवन को नियंत्रित नहीं किया जा सकता, उसे केवल जिया जा सकता है। जैसे नदी को बांधना संभव नहीं, उसे बहने देना ही सही है। वैसे ही जीवन भी बहना चाहता है। जब तुम उसे रोकते हो वह सड़ने लगता है, और वही सड़न तुम्हारे मन की बदबू बन जाती है। कभी किसी पेड़ को देखो, हवा चले तो वह झुक जाता है, तूफान आए तो और भी नीचे झुकता है, और जब हवा थम जाती है वह फिर सीधा खड़ा हो जाता है। वह टूटता नहीं, क्योंकि उसने झुकना सीखा है। तनाव वही जन्म लेता है जहां अकड़ होती है, जहां मन कहता है ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था, वहीं पीड़ा शुरू होती है। स्वीकार कर लेना यही मुक्ति है, जो है उसे अपनाना सीखो। न कि जैसा तुम चाहते हो वैसा हो, बल्कि जैसा है वैसा ही देखो। जब तुम चीजों को बदलने की कोशिश छोड़ देते हो, वे खुद बदलने लगती हैं, क्योंकि अब उनमें तुम्हारा प्रतिरोध नहीं रहता। लोग सोचते हैं ध्यान किसी विशेष क्रिया का नाम है, पर सच्चा ध्यान स्वीकार का नाम है, जहां कुछ भी छिपाना नहीं, कुछ भी रोकना नहीं, कुछ भी पकड़ कर रखना नहीं, बस देखना। तुम्हारे भीतर जो भी चल रहा है वह कैसा भी हो, उसे बस देखो। देखना ही उपचार है। तनाव तभी मिटता है जब तुम देखना सीख लेते हो, क्योंकि देखने में कोई निर्णय नहीं होता। निर्णय तनाव है, दर्शन मुक्ति है। जो भीतर घट रहा है उसे बिना नाम, बिना अर्थ, बिना डर के देखो। धीरे धीरे सब स्पष्ट होने लगता है। विचार थम जाते हैं, सांस शांत हो जाती है, मन पारदर्शी हो जाता है, और उसी पारदर्शिता में तनाव घुल जाता है। कभी कोशिश मत करो शांति पाने की। शांति पाने की इच्छा भी अशांति है। बस शांति को आने दो। वह तब आती है जब तुम कुछ पाने की कोशिश बंद कर देते हो, जब तुम खुद को बदलना
or
छोड़ देते हो, जब तुम बस होते हो जैसे हो। वहीं
just
से
the
नई
same.
रोशनी उतरती है, वहीं से जीवन का संगीत शुरू होता है।
But
तनाव
it
से मुक्ति किसी
also
डॉक्टर,
represents the
किसी
same
दवा
thing.
या किसी तकनीक से नहीं, वह केवल
The
समझ से आती
vertical,
है। और यह समझ
the
सोच से
horizontal,
नहीं आती, वह मौन से आती है। जब तुम भीतर उतरते हो,
Christ's
जब शब्द गिर
hands
जाते
are
हैं,
vertical.
जब मन थक कर रुक जाता है, वहीं से असली उपचार शुरू होता है।
His head
मौन, तनाव कोई शत्रु
and his
नहीं,
being
वह एक संकेत
is pointing into different directions. In a moment of meditation, you suddenly see that you can move in two directions, either horizontal or vertical. The vertical consists of silences, blissfulness, ecstasy. The horizontal consists of hands, works, the world. Once a man has known himself as a crossroad, he cannot be uninterested. He cannot be unintrigued about the vertical. Horizontal he knows, but the vertical opens a door to eternity, where death does not exist, where one simply becomes more and more part of the cosmic whole. Where one loses all bondages, even the bondage of the body. Gautam Buddha used to say, birth is pain, life is pain, death is pain. What he was saying is, to move on the horizontal line, you are continuously miserable, painful. Your life cannot be a life of dance of joy. If this was all, then suicide was the only solution. That's what the contemporary Western philosophy of existentialism of Jean-Paul Sartre, Jaspers, Heidegger, Kierkegaard, and others has come to the conclusion that life is meaningless. On the horizontal plane it is, because it is simply agony and pain and disease and sickness and oldness, and you are encased in a small body, while your consciousness is as vast as the whole universe. Once the vertical is discovered, one starts moving on the vertical line. That vertical line does not mean you have to renounce the world, but it certainly means that you are no more of the world, that the world becomes ephemeral. Loses importance. It does not mean that you have to renounce the world and escape to the mountains and the monastery. It simply means that you start wherever you are, living an inner life which was not possible before. Before you were an extrovert, now suddenly you become introvert. As far as the body is concerned, you can manage very easily. If the remembrance is there that you are not the body, but the body can be used in many ways to help you to move in the vertical line. The penetration of the vertical line, just a ray of light into your darkness of horizontal life, is the beginning of enlightenment. You will look the same, but you will not be the same. And those who have a clarity of seeing, to them you will not look the same either. And at least for yourself, you will never look the same, and you can never be the same. You will be in the world, but the world will not be in you. Ambitions, desires, jealousies, will start evaporating. No effort will be needed to drop them. Just your movement on the vertical line and they start disappearing because they cannot exist on the vertical line. They can exist only in the darkness of the horizontal, where everybody is in competition, everybody is full of lust, full will to power, a great desire to dominate, to become somebody special. On the vertical line, all these stupidities simply disappear. You become so light, so weightless, just like a lotus flower. It is in the water, but the water does not touch it. You remain in the world, but the world has no more any impact on you. On the contrary, you start influencing the world. Not with conscious effort, but just by your sheer being, your presence, your grace, your beauty. As it grows inside, it starts spreading around you. It will touch people who have open hearts. And it will make people afraid who have lived with a closed heart, all windows, all doors closed. They will not come in contact with such a person. And to convince themselves why they are not coming in contact with such a person, they will find 1,001 excuses, 1,001 lies. But the basic fact is that they are afraid to be exposed. The man who is moving vertically becomes almost a mirror. If you come close to him, you will see your real face. You will see your ugliness, you will see your continuous ambitiousness, you will see your begging bowl. Perhaps another story will help you. A man early in the morning, a beggar with a begging bowl, entered the king's garden. The king used to come for a morning walk. Otherwise, it was impossible to meet the king, particularly for the beggar. The whole bureaucracy will prevent him. So he had chosen a time when there is no bureaucracy, and when the king wants to be alone in silence with the nature, to drink as much beauty and lifeness that nature is savoring. The beggar encountered him there. The king said, "This is not the time. I don't see anybody." The beggar said, "I am a beggar. Your bureaucracy is too long, and for a beggar, it is impossible for you to see. I insist to give me an audience." The king just thought to get rid of him. He said, "What do you want? Just say and get it. Don't disturb my morning silence."
और जो रुकता नहीं उसे शांति कैसे मिलेगी?
The
तनाव
beggar
उसी
said,
दौड़ का परिणाम है जो कभी खत्म नहीं होता।
"Think
हर
twice
सुबह नई शुरुआत
before
होती
you
है
offer
और
me
तुम
to
बीते
give
कल को
something."
अपने कंधों पर लाद कर चलते हो।
The king
और
said,
फिर
"You
पूछते
seem
हो
to
क्यों?
be a
इतना
strange man.
भारीपन है क्योंकि
In
तुमने
the
अपने
first
भीतर
place,
कचरे का
you
अंबार जमा कर
entered
दिया। जो बीत गया वह अब नहीं है, जो आने
without
वाला है वह अभी
any
नहीं है।
permission
फिर तनाव किससे?
into the
खुद से
garden,
लेकर क्यों तुम उस चीज के लिए जलते हो जो है ही
insisted
नहीं। जो कल्पना है वह तुम्हारा यथार्थ बन गया है और यही कल्पना
that
दुखी
you
जड़
will
है।
have to
कभी बैठो चुपचाप, कुछ मत करो, बस देखो तुम्हारे भीतर कितनी हलचल है। हर विचार किसी न किसी डर से जुड़ा है, हर उम्मीद किसी अधूरेपन से। तुम सोचते हो जब सब ठीक होगा तब शांति
have
मिलेगी,
an
पर शांति
audience
परिणाम
with the
नहीं,
emperor.
वह एक प्रारंभ है। जिस दिन तुम कुछ ठीक
And
करने
now
की
I am
कोशिश छोड़ दोगे,
saying that
उस दिन
whatever you
सब
want,
ठीक हो जाएगा। तनाव
just
इसलिए
say.
नहीं है कि हालात कठिन है, तनाव इसलिए है
Don't
कि
disturb
तुम
my
हालात को
peace
अपने मुताबिक
and
बनाना
don't
चाहते हो।
disturb my
तुम सोचते
silence.
हो दुनिया तुम्हारी
The
इच्छा से
beggar
चले,
laughed.
पर
He
दुनिया
said,
अपने
"A
नियमों
peace
से चलती है।
that is
जब
disturbed
तुम उसका विरोध करते
is
हो
not
तो
peace.
तुम्हारा संघर्ष शुरू हो जाता है और संघर्ष से
And a
ही
silence
तनाव
that
जन्म
is
लेता है।
disturbed
एक बात समझो, जीवन को नियंत्रित नहीं
is
किया जा
just
सकता,
a
उसे केवल
dream,
जिया जा सकता है।
not a reality."
जैसे नदी को बांधना संभव नहीं, उसे बहने
Now the
देना ही
king
संभव
looked
है।
at the
वैसे ही
beggar.
जीवन भी बहना चाहता है। जब तुम उसे रोकते हो वह सड़ने लगता है और वही सड़न
He was
तुम्हारे मन की बात
saying
बन जाती है।
something
कभी
of
किसी पेड़ को
tremendous
हवा चले
importance.
तो वह झुक जाता है, तूफान
He
आए
does not
तो
seem
और
to be an
नीचे झुक
ordinary
जाता है।
beggar,
और
that
जब
is
हवा थम
certain.
जाती है वह फिर सीधा खड़ा हो जाता है।
And he said
वह टूटता
again that
नहीं
I want
क्योंकि
you
उसने
to
झुकना सीखा है।
think
तनाव वही
over,
जन्म लेता है जहां अकड़ होती
because
है।
what I
जहां
want
मन कहता है ऐसा नहीं
is
होना चाहिए था, वही पीड़ा शुरू
just
होती है।
fill my
स्वीकार कर लेना यही मुक्ति है।
begging bowl
है, उसे अपनाना सीखो, न कि जैसा तुम
with
चाहते हो
anything
वैसा हो, बल्कि जैसा है
and I will go.
वैसा ही देखो।
But
जब
it
तुम
has
चीजों को
to
बदलने
be
की
full.
कोशिश छोड़ देते हो, वे खुद बदलने
The
लगते
king
हैं,
laughed.
क्योंकि अब
He said,
उनमें
"You are a
तुम्हारा प्रतिरोध
madman.
नहीं रहता। लोग सोचते हैं ध्यान
Do you
उसी
think your
उसी
begging
से
bowl
लिया करता
cannot
है,
be filled?"
पर सच्चा ध्यान स्वीकार का नाम है, जहां कुछ भी छिपाना नहीं, कुछ भी रोकना नहीं,
He
सब
called
पकड़
his
कर रखना है,
treasurer
बस
and
देखना।
told him that
तुम्हारे
fill
भीतर
his
जो भी चल रहा
beggar
है वह कैसा भी हो उसे बस देखो। देखना ही उपचार है। तनाव तभी मिटता है जब तुम देखना सीख लेते हो।
is begging
कोई
bowl
निर्णय नहीं होता, निर्णय
with
तनाव है,
diamonds,
दर्शन मुक्ति है। जो भीतर
precious
घट रहा है
stones.
उसे बिना नाम, बिना अर्थ, बिना डर के देखो। धीरे धीरे सब स्पष्ट होने लगता है। विचार
The
थम जाते
treasurer
हैं,
has no
सांस
idea
शांत
what
हो
has
जाती
happened.
है, मन
Nobody
पारदर्शी हो जाता है। और
fills
उसी
beggars'
पारदर्शिता में
bowls
तनाव
with
घुल जाता है।
diamonds,
कभी कोशिश मत करो शांति पाने की।
and the beggar reminded the treasurer that remember,
शांति को आने दो।
unless
और तब
the
आती है
begging
जब तुम
bowl
बदलने की
is
कोशिश बंद कर
full,
देते हो, जब तुम खुद को बदलना छोड़ देते हो, जब
I
तुम
am
बस
not
लेते हो
going to
जैसे,
move from here.
वहीं से नई रोशनी उतरती है, वहीं से जीवन का संगीत शुरू होता है।
It is a
तनाव
challenge
किसी
between a
डर,
beggar
किसी दवा
and
या किसी
an
तकनीक से नहीं, वह केवल
emperor.
समझ से आती है। और ये समझ सोच से नहीं आती,
And then there
यह मौन से आती है। जब तुम भीतर उतरते
followed
हो,
a
जब
very
शब्द गिर जाते हैं,
strange
जब
story.
मन थक कर रुक जाता है,
As
वहीं से असली उपचार
diamonds
शुरू होता है।
were
मान
poured
लो,
into his
तनाव
begging
कोई
bowl,
शत्रु नहीं, वह
the
एक
moment you
संकेत।
will pour them, they will disappear. The emperor was in a very embarrassed state, but he said, whatever happens, even if my whole treasury is gone, I cannot be defeated by a beggar. I have defeated great emperors. And the whole treasury disappears. And the rumor reached in the capital, and thousands of people gathered to see what is happening. And they had never seen the king in such a trembling, nervous breakdown. And finally, when nothing was left in the treasury and the begging bowl was still as empty as it was before, he fell into the feet of the beggar and said, you will have to forgive me. I did not understand. I have never thought about these things. I did my best, but now I don't have anything else to offer you. And I will think that you have forgiven me if you can tell me the secret of your begging bowl. This is a strange begging bowl. Just few diamonds would have filled it. It has taken the whole treasury. The beggar laughed and he said, you need not be worried. This is not a begging bowl. I found a human skull, and out of the human skull I made this begging bowl. It has not forgotten its old habits. Have you looked into begging, your own begging bowl, your own head? Give it anything and it will be asking more and more and more. it knows only one language more. It is always empty, it is always a beggar. On the horizontal line, only beggars exist, because they are all rushing for more. And because the more cannot be fulfilled, not that you cannot get to a position you wanted, but the moment you get it, there are higher positions. For a moment, maybe a flicker of happiness, and second moment, again the same despair and the same race for more. You cannot fulfill the idea of more. It is intrinsically unfulfillable. And this is the horizontal line, the line of more and more and more. What is the vertical line? Of being less and less and less, to the point of utter emptiness, to the point of being nobody. Just a signature, not even on the sand, but on the water. You have not even made it, and it has disappeared. The man of vertical line is the authentic sannyasin, who is immensely happy in being nobody, immensely happy with his inner purity of emptiness, because only emptiness can be pure. Who is absolutely contented with his nothingness, because only nothingness can be in tune with the universe. Once this tuning with the universe happens, you are no more in a sense. In the old sense, you are no more. But you are, for the first time, the whole universe. Even the faraway stars are within you. Your nothingness can contain them. The flowers and the sun and the moon and the whole music of existence you are no more an ego. Your I has disappeared. But that does not mean that you have disappeared. On the contrary, the moment your I has disappeared, you have appeared. it is such a great ecstasy to be without the feeling of I, without the feeling of any ego, without asking for anything more. What more you can ask? You have nothingness. In this nothingness, you have become without conquering the whole universe. Then the singing birds are not only singing outside you, they appear outside because this body creates the barrier. On the vertical line, you become more and more consciousness and less body. The whole identification with the body disappears. In nothingness, these birds will be within you. These flowers, these trees, and this beautiful morning will be within you. In fact, then there is no without. Everything has become your within. And you cannot have a more richer life when everything has become your within. When sun and moon and the stars and the whole infinity of time and space is within you, what more do you want? This is exactly the meaning of enlightenment. To become so non-existent as an ego that the whole oceanic existence becomes part of you. Kabir, one great Indian mystic, uneducated, but has written such tremendously significant statements. They may not be grammatical, one of his statements he corrected before he died. He has written when he was young a beautiful statement it was. Just as a dewdrop slips from the lotus leaf in the early morning sun, shining like a pearl, into the ocean. He said, the same has happened to me. His words are, I have been searching, my friend. Rather than finding myself, I got lost into the cosmos. The dewdrop disappeared into the ocean. Just before dying, as he was closing his eyes, he asked his son Kamal, who himself proved of the same caliber and of the same status, and sometimes one thinks that he was a man of more courage than Kabir. Kabir is very courageous against all tradition, orthodoxy, everything. But Kamal even criticizes Kabir when he finds something wrong in his statements. He told to Kamal that please change my statement, which has been praised all over, that my friends, I have been searching for myself, but rather than finding myself, I got lost just as the dewdrop disappears into the ocean. Change it. Kamal said, I have always suspected that there is something wrong in it. And he showed his own writing in which he has already corrected it. The correction even before Kabir realized has been done already. That's why Kabir called him Kamal, that you are a miracle. Kamal means miracle. And the man was a miracle. He has changed the line that Kabir wanted, that my friend, I was seeking and searching myself. Rather than finding myself, I have found the whole world, the whole universe. The dewdrop has not disappeared in the ocean, but the ocean has disappeared in the dewdrop. And when the ocean disappears in the dewdrop is simply losing its boundaries, nothing else. On the vertical line, you become less and less and less and less, and one day you are no more. A Zen master, Rinzai, has a very absurd habit, but beautiful. Every morning when he will wake up, before opening his eyes, he will say, Rinzai, are you still here? His disciples said that what kind of nonsense is this? You ask Rinzai, are you still here? He said, I am waiting for the moment when the answer will be no. Existence is Rinzai is not. This is the ultimate peak human consciousness can reach. This is the ultimate benediction. And unless one reaches to this peak, one will remain wandering into dark pathways, blind, suffering, miserable. He may accumulate much knowledge. He may become a great scholar, but that does not help. The only thing a very simple thing is the essence of the whole religious experience, and that is meditation. You go inwards, it will be difficult to get out from the crowd of your thoughts, but you are not a thought. You can get out of the crowd. You can create a distance between you and your thoughts. And as the distance grows bigger, the thoughts start falling like leaves which have died, because it is you and your identity with the thoughts that gives them nourishment. When you are not giving them nourishment, thoughts cannot exist. Have you met any thought somewhere standing by itself? and just try to be indifferent. The word of Gautam Buddha is upeksha. Just be indifferent to the whole mind, and a distance will be created and will come to a point from where all nourishment to the thoughts is stopped. They simply disappear. They are so bubbles. And the moment all thoughts disappear, you will find in the same situation asking, Ranjai, are you still here? And you will wait for that great moment, that great rare opportunity when the answer will be no. Who is this guy, Ranjai? This silence is meditation. And it is not a talent. Everybody cannot be a Picasso, and everybody cannot be a Ravindranath. Everybody cannot be a Michelangelo. Those are talents. But everybody can be enlightened, because it is not talent, it is your intrinsic nature of which you are unaware. And you will remain unaware if you remain surrounded by thoughts. The awareness of your ultimate reality arises only when there is nothing to prevent it, when there is nothingness surrounding you. The vertical line is rare. That is perhaps the only rare thing in existence, because it takes you on the journey of eternity and immortality. And the flowers that blossom on those paths are inconceivable by the mind. And the experiences that happen are unexplainable. But in a very strange way, the man himself becomes the expression. His eyes show the depths of his heart. His gestures show the grace of the vertical movement. His whole life radiates, pulsates, and creates a field of energy, those who are not prejudiced, those who are not already determined and concluded, I feel sorry for them. But those who are open, unprejudiced, have not concluded yet, they will immediately start feeling the pulsation, the radiation, and a certain synchronicity between the heart of the man of vertical with the heart of the man who is not yet vertical. But the moment the synchronicity happens, in that same moment you start also moving vertically. These are words simply to explain things which are not explainable through words. But those who are intelligent enough, not intellectuals, those are the people full of rubbish, never get mixed up with the intellectuals and intelligence. Intelligence is a pure clarity of seeing, a perceptivity. The intellectual is a computer. He is a memory. Intelligence is not memory. Intelligence is a sharp sword which penetrates directly into reality. Once it sees it, it is said Mahakashyapa, himself a prince, had gone to see Gautam Buddha. But he was very simple, innocent, unprejudiced, having no belief systems, no philosophy, no theology. He simply touched the feet of Buddha, looked into the eyes of Buddha, and everything happened. Some transfer of light, something invisible, some meeting of the heart, some merging. He never asked a single question to Gautam Buddha. even others became aware of the fact that all the disciples asked questions. This Mahakashyapa is strange. He simply sits under a tree. He has almost monopolized the tree. Everybody knows that don't sit there. Mahakashyapa will sit. He sits there. A Buddha speaks good. A Buddha does not speak good. Slowly, older disciples approached Mahakashyapa, particularly Sariputra, who was very close disciple of Gautam Buddha, and asked Mahakashyapa, "Don't you have a question?" Mahakashyapa said, "All my questions have been answered the moment he looked into my eyes. The moment I touched his feet, I have not been a body, I am just a consciousness, and the body is my house. All identity with the body was broken in a single split moment." He simply is described in the Buddhist scriptures only once, when another king was offering Gautam Buddha a great valuable diamond, and Buddha said, "Drop it." Reluctantly, because it was a very valuable diamond. But before 10,000 people, if you have offered it and Buddha says, "Drop it," he dropped it. He has also brought a very rare flower, a lotus which has blossomed untimely. It was not the time for lotuses. He offered Buddha that flower, and he again says, "Drop it." He dropped it, but he felt very strange that my gifts are not being accepted. Hurt. And Buddha said, "Drop it." And now he had nothing to drop. So he looked all around that what to make of it. Is this man mad? I dropped the diamond, I dropped the flower. Those two things were in my both hands. Now I don't have anything to drop. This is the moment where Mahakashyapa is mentioned once only. 10,000 sannyasins were utterly silent, because it is a strange thing. Buddha has never done that. He has accepted anybody will bring a flower or a gift, he will accept it. But Mahakashyapa, sitting under his monopolized tree, laughed loudly. He had not spoken to anybody. He has been there for 4 years. This was the first time he has made some kind of expression. He laughed. And this was even more hurting. The king said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "I am laughing because you are not dropping yourself." He is not concerned about your flower and about your diamond. Drop yourself. And I said, with my experience, that before he said anything, I had dropped myself. He had to lean and hold me up, and our eyes met, and everything happened. Mahakashyapa is perhaps the most mysterious disciple of Gautam Buddha, but the most perceptive. That was the rare moment when Buddha looked into Mahakashyapa's eyes. That was the moment when eternity penetrated time, when the vertical penetrated the horizontal. And just a single moment can be such a radical change. Beautiful were those days. Golden are their memories. It looks very far away and faint now. But my effort here is to make this small island a part of eternity, where those innocent moments, those innocent experiences are still possible. Nothing is said, nothing is heard, and yet the heart starts dancing in the tune with the master. The universal and the eternal are the same. Only man has become more and more drowned in darkness. In India, the seers have divided this part of time as Kali Yuga, the age of darkness. They were certainly very perceptive. Just few days before the editor of Illustrated Weekly wrote an article about me in which he said few significant things. That he is not a religious person. Neither he believes in any spirituality. But in our commune, what he saw and felt he can say was his closest experience of spirituality. Somebody from England wrote a very angry letter to him, which is published. The man said, "What has happened to you? Either you have been bribed or you have been hypnotized. Looking at his letter, it became something more important, because if anybody says any lies about me, if anybody is against me, nobody will say to him that you have been bribed by the enemies of Bhagwan. And nobody will say or even conceive that you have been hypnotized by the people who are against Bhagwan. Many people have told me that we want to come, we want to understand, but then people start saying that you are being hypnotized. If we are not saying anything against you, then certainly you are being hypnotized. just 25 centuries before. Do you think Mahakashyapa was hypnotized? Do you think anybody would have called him either you have been bribed or hypnotized? There were days when people were not so much close and allowed some fresh breeze to pass through them. Now everybody seems to be completely closed. Somebody is a Christian, somebody is a Hindu, somebody is a Mohammedan. Before experiencing anything, they have decided what is true and what is false. Before coming in contact with a living source, they have covered themselves completely, defensively. They are afraid that if they open up, all their prejudices will look stupid and all their belief systems will fall down. I am here in my own land, but I consider myself a foreigner. People are afraid to enter the gate of the commune. The fear is of hypnosis, and they don't understand what hypnosis is. The fact is they are hypnotized from their very childhood to worship a monkey god, because no intelligent man will do that. They have been hypnotized to worship an elephant god. This is possible only through constant repetition from the very childhood by the whole society around, that it becomes a conditioning in them. Otherwise, they will also think what they are doing. But they never think. Thinking is one of the greatest crimes. So nobody thinks. everybody believes. But if you want to reach to the heights of a Buddha or to the heights of a Chuang-Tzu, then you will have to drop all belief systems, and you will have to drop all thoughts which have been given to you by others, which are borrowed. A man came to Chuang-Tzu one day and was arguing about. Chuang-Tzu said, "Wait, just I want to know one thing. Would you like to use somebody's shoes?" He said, "Why should I use somebody else's shoes?" Chuang-Tzu said, "You are so alert about your legs, about your feet, but you are not so aware about your head, because every thought that you have is somebody else. It is not yours. You have heard it, you have read it, you have been told, you have gathered from the atmosphere, and you have never thought that you don't have a single thought of your own. In fact, there is no thought which is your own. There is only clarity, perceptivity, silence, understanding, intelligence, which are your own. And with these, you can be ready for the eternity to enter into the world of time. It is the greatest moment. I cannot conceive of anything more valuable or more precious. It makes you the whole universe. It takes away all your boundaries, which are really imprisonment. It makes you a bird on the wing in the open sky. Now, something serious. Because we have been in a non-serious world so long. A man goes into a bar and orders a beer, When he is served, he reaches into his breast pocket and lifts out a perfectly formed little figure, 4 inches tall. Then he pulls out a thimble and places it on the bar. A beer for my friend here too, he requests, and go easy on the head. Is he for real? Asks the bartender. He is, says the man. Can he talk? Persists the bartender. He can, replies the man. Arnold, he goes on, tell this guy about the time we were on safari and you called the witch doctor a black son of a bitch. Silverman is killed in an accident, and Mendel Kravitz is sent to break the news to his wife. Be careful how you will tell her, advises a friend. She is a very delicate woman. Mendel knocks on the door and Mrs. Silverman comes out. Are you the widow of Silverman? He asks. Certainly not, she replies. Wanna bet? Says Mendel. An African tribe is living through a famine and having a bad time with its crops. The chief calls a meeting and says, we will send a telegram to the Russians telling them that we are having agricultural problems and need their help. They will send seeds, tractors, and 100 young technicians to help us. Then we will send a telegram to the Americans telling them that the Russians are helping us, and the Americans will send us seeds and tractors and 100 technicians. When all the technicians arrive, we will eat them.